Hey guys, Welsknight here, and welcome back to another episode and the final episode of Creativerse. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I am having an awesome day, and I want to talk about my kind of final impressions of Creativerse in today's episode. Kind of a mini pseudo review, if you will. So I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all that kind of good stuff. So that's that's the plan. I'm not really going to be doing a whole lot gameplay-wise. I am going to travel the world and explore a little bit, see if I can find anything cool. But if you're interested on hearing what I have to say, by all means, stick around. So, a couple things I want to say right off the bat. First and foremost, my opinions are my own. I may have certain things that I say about the game that you may disagree with, and that's perfectly okay. Also, my experience with Creativerse has been entirely encapsulated within this Let's Play series. So, if you haven't seen it on camera, odds are I probably haven't experienced it because I haven't really played the game outside of this series at all. So, some of the things that I'm going to talk about in this video, it is possible that I may just be ignorant to their existence, specifically when I'm talking about ways that I think the game could improve. In other words, I may say, I wish that the game would have something that did this, and that item or thing may exist, and I just may not have ever encountered it. And yeah, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I have a grand total of approximately 5 to 10 hours of Creativerse experience that I'm going to base this on. So yeah, take what I say with a grain of salt when it comes to that kind of stuff. And then finally, I'm going to draw some parallels and comparisons and things like that to Minecraft over the course of this video. And there's a few reasons for that. Obviously, there are some similarities in many ways. And I don't think anyone will deny that. Also, Minecraft is really kind of my bread and butter, so to speak. You know, I am what people would consider a Minecraft YouTuber. 95% of the content on my channel is Minecraft. 95% of my audience is there for Minecraft. So I'm going to talk about Minecraft because it's what I know. So just if that's gonna bother you, then well, you have been warned. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. Bottom line up front, is Creativerse worth your time? I would say yes. I think it's a good game. That's the bottom line. I think it's good. I think it's not perfect. I think there are ways it could be improved, but I do enjoy the game. I've enjoyed my time with it. I know that I've only scratched the surface of what is possible in this game, and I think it is a fantastic game that's worth at least looking at least trying. And if you don't like it, then so be it, because the game is free to play. You don't have to pay for it. You can find it on Steam. There's a link in the description, by the way, if you want to check it out there. You don't have to pay for it. You can just try it out, see if you like it. If you like it, great. If not, well, you're out maybe an hour of your time or something like that, rather than out $60 because you tried the latest whatever Xbox 3, I almost said Xbox 360. I'm stuck in the past. The latest Xbox One game, and now you're out, $60 from buying a AAA title that stinks. This is free to play. You can't go wrong there. So let's get into some specifics. What does Creativerse do well? I think Creativerse does a lot of things well. I think the terrain is gorgeous. I think the world generation is gorgeous. The biomes are varied and different. In fact, I would say that Creativerse does terrain generation, in my opinion, better than Minecraft does. When you go from one biome to another in Minecraft, if you go from a birch forest into an oak forest, the only thing that's really going to change is the trees. In fact, that's true of a lot of the biomes. Only the plants within and maybe the color of the grass a little bit changes. In Creativerse, every biome is very distinct and different, and I think that's awesome. Even different types of forests, the trees change. Like right now we're in some glacier biome or something, and it's very different from the area we were moments ago. And I think that's fantastic. I also really like the graphical style. It's kind of like half realistic, half cartoonish, and I like it. It's very aesthetically pleasing, I think, and it gives the game kind of a unique flavor and style that I personally enjoy. It's beautiful. The game also runs pretty well. I'm right now getting about 70 frames per second, 65 to 70 frames per second, but I am also recording at the moment, and that definitely cuts into my frame rate a bit. Without my recording software running, I usually get about 150 frames per second. And the other thing is, too, I should probably tell you, if we're going to talk about frame rates, my computer, 16 gigs of RAM, i7 4790K, GTX 980, running off an SSD. So, does it run amazingly well? No, but it also, I mean, I'm not locked at 30 frames per second or less, so I can't complain too much. There are plenty of games I've played in the past that have far worse performance. Cough, cough, arc, cough, cough. So I think I have no complaints there. We're getting a solid 60 frames per second while recording, and that's a good thing. So what else does the game do well? Combat. Combat is actually kind of fun. I didn't really get too deep into the combat system in my Creativerse series, but from the research that I've done, the enemies that you'll face actually have some sort of strategy that you can apply to beat them without taking damage, or that you can employ to just generally be more successful against enemies. Whereas, I personally kind of have employed the Minecraft strategy of run up and hit it in the face. Apparently, there are many enemies that, if you take the time to study their patterns and use your puzzle-solving ability a little bit, your creative thinking, you will be far more successful in combat, and you won't have to just spam potions like I did. And I think that's awesome. I think that's a really good thing. It makes combat more fun, I think, because combat in games in this genre often becomes very dull and repetitive very quickly. You kill one enemy, and you've basically killed all the enemies. They're all very similar, etc. Look at the difference here, biome-wise. You've got like some sort of a mesa or something, and then behind us there's this mountain, over there's the glacier. I mean, just look at the difference. It's like night and day. And then here we have like some sort of a forest or something. Man, I love it. I love how varied the world is. It's exciting to go exploring, and I really appreciate that about Creativerse. There's actually reason to explore. You head out and you can kind of find all sorts of cool things that you haven't seen before, which I really appreciate. What else does Creativerse do well? I like the tech tree. I like the progression system. It is very different than Minecraft, and I think that's good. The progression system in Creativerse kind of reminds me of like, we're just going to run from this guy. I don't feel like fighting him right now. I could probably take him, but I'm not. I just don't feel like it. I'm going to cut him some slack and not kill him. Anyway, the progression system in Creativerse really kind of reminds me of, it's kind of like pseudo RPG slash tech tree from like a 4X grand strategy game. And I think it's really cool. You craft certain things, and then by crafting those things, you unlock new things, and then you can use those to unlock new things, and on and on and on it goes. Which means that when you log into the world, and you load up a new world for the first time, there is actually time and progression that you have to go through. You can't just be at end game within, a couple hours. when I load up a new Minecraft world, I can basically be at end game gear within usually about 3 hours of loading into the world for the first time. And I think that's too fast, you know? Whereas in Creativerse, there is progression that you have to go through. There is some time requirement. You got to do some grind. And you actually have to work your way through the tech tree, which I think is cool. You know, I'm in favor of that. I also think that there's some really cool options in this game for builders. There's some really cool stuff you can do. There's tons of blocks. There's tons and tons and tons of textures and blocks at your disposal that are available in the world. And many of them you have to explore to go find, right? Like if I want this color of grass, I have to go find it somewhere in the world. If I want a certain type of tree, I need to go find it in the world. And I need to gather it in that way. And there's tons of those resources out there. There's also tons of different mobs out there, and you have to go find them to advance through the tech tree. You can't just have everything all in one place. So it encourages, in fact, it forces you to explore. What is this? Wildwood. Look at this. Episode 10, and we're still finding brand new stuff. I've never seen a biome like this before. This is super cool. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked now. But there's so many different textures and options, and I think that's awesome. There's also the ability to rotate any block into any facing. So if I want to rotate this grass and put it on its side for some reason, I can do that. And that's awesome. I think the system for doing so could possibly be improved a little bit. We'll talk about that later once I get into the negative stuff. Or the, not necessarily negative, but this is what I would want to see in this game. But I think it's awesome. And you can do the same with slabs, stairs, roof tiles, furniture, anything. Literally anything in the game that you place. I could put down my bed, right? And I can rotate. I stand corrected. You can't rotate the bed. But I know I was doing it with tables and stuff in I think it was the last episode. So maybe it's any block that is, or anything that's only one block, you can rotate. But that's an awesome feature. And then, you know, if I get a bunch of this grass and I say, I want the grass on its side, on its side, there we go, and then I place more down, they'll be automatically rotated, which is pretty fantastic. So I love the rotatability. I love the fact that there's different tools and weapons and armor and stuff like that, and you really have to work to upgrade your stuff. Like, it takes some time, it takes some grind, and you really get kind of a sense of accomplishment when you upgrade to that next level of gear, and I think that's really cool and fun. Now, there are tons of other awesome things that I like about Creativerse, but if I talk about every little nitpicky thing, and if we go into super big detail on everything, this video is going to be insanely long and no one will actually watch it. So, let's get into the negatives. And I want to transition a little bit by talking about the business model, because I've read the comments on all the videos, and one common thing that comes up is, oh, so it's like Minecraft, but with microtransactions, right? And I just want to say, I personally have no issue with the business model that Creativerse has. I don't think the microtransactions are unreasonable, and they don't bother me. But I want to talk about it because I know that some people are going to be adverse to the idea of a game with microtransactions. And what I mean by microtransactions is there is a store. In the store, you can buy stuff, and that stuff will do things, right? We'll get into more details in a minute. Here's the deal. There is a right and a wrong way, in my opinion, to do free-to-play. I think free-to-play is a perfectly valid business model, and I think that Creativerse does it the right way. I do. I have played free-to-play games in the past where the free version of the game, and I say game in the loosest possible terminology, the free version of the game is essentially an extended demo, right? You can play through like the first area for the first, basically the first 20 minutes of the game. You can play through that first area for free, but then you have to pay to unlock the next area. And you can't really do anything after you get through that first 20 minutes. So the free-to-play version is essentially an extended demo. I've played games like that in the past. This is not one of them. There is some content that is quote-unquote gated behind a paywall, but you don't need it to get the game experience. You don't need it to play the game. You can play the game forever without ever spending a dime and still enjoy yourself if you're creative enough way down the road. You don't need the stuff that you get in the store. Furthermore, the stuff that you get in the store is essentially what I would consider DLC. I'd call it DLC. It's a couple extra aesthetic blocks, things. This sword is essentially a clone of another sword that you can already get anyway, just reskinned, etc., etc. And then you can get some stuff to kind of speed up your process and reduce the grind a little bit, some, rare crafting materials and things like that. And I personally have no issue with it. I think it's perfectly fine. The other thing is, game development is not free. Games that have the level of polish honestly, just about any game on Steam, short of like asset flips, is going to cost money to develop. It takes time, it takes money, and developers need to put food on the table somehow. So, I think you can't call it Minecraft with microtransactions. You can't, I don't think you can make that comparison, because the thing is, you paid for Minecraft. Minecraft is not a free-to-play game. If you want to get the full game, you have to buy the game, and the PC edition is around $26. So I don't think it's a fair comparison to make, because Minecraft, the Java PC edition, doesn't have microtransactions, but it also has a price tag associated with getting started. So I don't think it's a fair comparison to make. You're comparing apples and oranges in that case. So let's get into some of the things that I think could be improved on this game. I think I've talked enough about the pay, the business model, and the store stuff, and I think we're ready to move on. So let's talk about some of the things that I think could be improved. There is a certain level of grind in Creativerse, and I'm not opposed to a little bit of grind, especially at the beginning of the game. I don't have an issue directly with grind. However, I think there needs to be a way to speed up that process and reduce the grind as you move further and further into the game. I think that's a very important thing. So let me give you an example. In fact, let's teleport home. We're going to have a loading screen. By the way, there are loading screens. Generally, the farther away you are from your house, you will run into a loading screen. I'm not going to cut this one out, so you can get an idea of how the loading screens look in a game like this, because I've cut them out of pretty much all the other videos, but there we go. So that was maybe 10 seconds? Not too bad, although I do have a relatively good computer, so if you're not running the game off of an SSD, that may be considerably longer. But anyway, let's talk about the grind, okay? So say, for example, I want to make some wooden stairs, right? I throw the wood in here. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Oh, speaking of which, collect all. I'll take those. You throw the wood in, and you say, hey, I want to make stuff, right? So you make some slabs, right? And in your different stuff, you'll find recipes, right? So we need slabs, we need twine, we need all these things. So I need to make a stair. To make stairs, to make 4 stairs, I need 3 wooden slabs. That means I need to process 3 slabs every time I want to make 4 stairs. And it takes 10 seconds to make 2 wooden slabs, right? What if I'm building a roof? What if I want to do a roof? And this is a tiny little house. What if I want to make a big house and I need hundreds upon hundreds of stairs to do so? You know? The waiting on the processor is going to take an astronomical amount of time. And I think, obviously I could make more processors, but I don't think that's the right answer. I don't think the answer should be just make more of the same thing and have more processors. I think the answer should be make better processors, right? If we look in the tech tree, we have the regular extractor. And then as you advance through the game and get farther along, you can make the advanced extractor instead of the regular extractor. And then even farther down the road, you can get the super extractor. And what I would like to see would be an advanced processor and a super processor that would have upgraded either processing capacity, where they would process more things at once, or processing speed, or both. I would personally like to see one that does both. So I throw, if I have a super processor, I throw my my wood in there, and it will process, say, 8 slabs at a time. And instead of taking 10 seconds for 2 slabs, it'll take 5 seconds for 8 slabs or something like that. And it just reduces that grind, because as a builder, I don't want to spend 45 minutes waiting on my machines to just create the materials that I need, that I've already spent all the time gathering, so that I can build a roof or something like that. You know what I mean? Furthermore, when it comes to trees and resource gathering in general, there's definitely some grind involved with that. Trees specifically irk me just a little bit. If I chop down this whole tree, first of all, I don't know how many wood blocks are in this tree right here, but I guarantee it's a lot. Probably over 1,000 at least, if not well over that. This is a huge tree, okay? So if I chop down this one tree, that's going to take me probably half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe more, just to chop down the wood in this tree. The thing then is, there's no leaf decay. Which means if I want to chop down the whole tree properly and not have these like random unidentified flying object leaves that are just magically floating there, I need to individually take down every leaf as well. Or I can use like a grenade or something and start them on fire, but I don't necessarily want to do that. I don't want to throw stuff at it and burn it down. I want it to naturally decay if I chop down the whole tree. My solution to this problem would be this. I would introduce a tool into the game that allows you to chop down a whole tree at once at a significant cost. So it would be far down the tech tree and you would need, high-end materials for it. And it would also give you a loss of resources when you use it. So if I chop down this whole tree, I would lose, say, 2/3 of the resources that I would get from taking it down block by block, one at a time, right? A lot of the resources would just get lost in the process. They would disappear. But I would be able to take down this whole tree all at once, and the leaves would disappear as well. Something along those lines. I mean, obviously tweak the numbers for balancing purposes, but please give me some sort of an end game tool that allows me to greatly increase my mining speed and efficiency so that I can gather materials, so that I can do what builders love to do, and that is build pretty things. If I want to build a decent large house like I can in Minecraft, I'm going to need to spend far more time in Creativerse gathering those materials, and I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. At the beginning of the game, sure, by all means, make me work to get to the late game stuff. But by the time I get there, I want to be, a demigod. I want to be able to to gather all the things and do all the stuff and get massive quantities of resources relatively easily by the time that I reach end game stuff, right? So that I can focus on building. Speaking of building, the rotate system is a little unintuitive. Like, once you figure it out, it's not too bad. The problem is, you don't really know how to figure it out. If you go into the controls, game settings controls, it's just listed as R, right? Rotate. What you have to do is you have to hold down R, and then you can rotate things. I'm holding down the R key right now. If I let go, I'll still have the little rotate icon, but I'll just suck the thing up. It doesn't tell me that, and it doesn't say anywhere how to do that. So what I would say, solution-wise, give me some tutorials. Give me some basic tutorials, maybe make them optional. Put an option in the menu, turn off tutorials or something like that. But give me some basic tutorials about the controls and how to play the game and stuff like that. Just so I know, as a new player coming in, this is how you rotate blocks, since that's an important thing to enjoy the game to its fullest extent. Maybe they could even be just like optional videos that you would watch on the menu screen, right? Here's a video of the basic controls. Here's a video of the different types of biomes that you can find. Here's a video about mob mechanics, etc., etc., etc. Just things to kind of explain the game to new players and kind of let them know how the game works. And they can be completely optional. Don't shove it down new players' throats, because not everyone wants a tutorial. But as someone who would like a basic understanding of the game and how to play it, I think that would be a welcome addition for a lot of people. So those are all things that I would recommend. Other but not least, one thing I want to touch on with the crafting, the processing, I would also like to see one other thing added to the game. So we talked a little bit about having a better processor, right? An advanced upgraded processor. I would also like to see a better inventory manager. / it could actually be combined with a processor. So say I want to do a big crafting job, right? I want to craft 1,000 stairs to build a giant roof on a massive house that's going to cover this entire lake or something, right? And say I have 4 processors. We'll be generous, right? I've got 4 processors right here that are all going to be used for this job. I would craft another machine, and it would interface and connect with these processors. And then I would only have to access one UI on this one machine, and it would automatically evenly distribute the job between these 4 machines. That would be amazing. So all I have to do is come to this one, say, hey, here's 1 billion wood, make all the things, make me all the slabs you can possibly make, and it would automatically send them out. It would be even cooler if that could then hook up to different chests and things like that, so that I could automatically send those things to their respective inventories. I'm thinking something along the lines of like an ME or a refined storage system from modded Minecraft. That would be amazing to have in this game. This game definitely has more of a futuristic vibe to it than Minecraft does. And I think although something like that wouldn't fit within vanilla Minecraft, I think it would fit in a game like Creativerse, and I think it would be a welcome addition that I would love to see. But I think those are pretty much my thoughts in a nutshell. I have to say, I have really enjoyed my time playing Creativerse. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad I took the time to play it, and I'm glad that Creativerse approached me, that the development team approached me and said, hey, if you want to play this game, we will sponsor the series. Because if I'm being honest, Creativerse is actually a game that's been on my list of games to play for quite some time, for years even. And I just never really got around to doing it. Things always came up and got in the way. And when the development team approached me and offered to sponsor the series, I mean, talk about a perfect time. Like if there's no better timing than when the offer for a sponsored series is there. Like if I'm not going to do it then, I'm never going to do it. You know what I mean? Like how could I refuse, especially since it was a game that I would have played on my own without any sort of a sponsored series eventually anyway. So I'm really glad that we tried it out. I think we did a good job of kind of getting a feel for what Creativerse is all about and kind of exploring the game. I've gotten a lot of messages and tweets and things like that saying, hey, thanks for letting me know about this game. I didn't even know it existed. I've been having a lot of fun with it and all that kind of stuff. And that's always cool to see. But I think this is going to do it for my Creativerse series. The game is still in active development. It has now been fully released, but the team is still adding new content to it and actively updating the game. There's going to be a lot more coming in the future, and down the road, I may give it another try. You know, when more stuff has been added, when the game has been polished a bit more, new features have been added and things like that, I will certainly consider coming back to it. I have enjoyed my time, and I think it's well worth a try. I mean, it's free to play. If nothing else, you're only out maybe an hour or two of your time. You can find it on Steam, link in the description. Give it a try. If you love it, great. If not, that's fine too. But guys, I am out of time for this one, so my friends, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I do appreciate it, and it really helps out my channel. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. There are links in the video description below, so check that out as well. Otherwise, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll definitely see you next time.